Most men struggle with weak erections because they're trying to solve the wrong problem, and this leaves them feeling hopeless, and it prevents them from taking action to actually solve it. So I'm going to ask you one question, and if your answer is no, then I can actually help you get back to effortless erections every time, even if you feel completely hopeless. I know that sounds like a big claim, but what you're dealing with is a very fixable problem if you take the time to understand it clearly. And when you fix it, you'll be as horny as you were when you were 18, and your erections will be rock hard. You won't need pills, you won't need supplements, you won't need Kegels. You'll just enjoy sex the way it was meant to be enjoyed. So my name is Cam Joyner, and everything I'm sharing with you in this video comes from my personal experience of having had ED and being really frustrated by being given pills, offered surgeries, and wasting money on therapy that didn't work. And then finally beating it for good. And since then, I've helped over 100 men just like you regain on-demand erections. So none of this is theory. So now, the one question. So if you think about the next time that you're going to have sex, is the primary emotion that you experience right now excitement? Does the thought of having sex start getting you aroused and fired up? If the answer is no, good news. I can help you get hard anytime you want. There's only 3 steps that you need to take in order to start feeling alive again around sex. So the first step is to get clear on what's causing the problem, which we're actually going to do right now. The reason we want to get clear is so we can take actionable steps to fix this. If you don't know what's causing a problem, typically you'll get stuck in research mode, which you'll see in step 2 is actually part of the problem. So if you ask yourself, am I clear enough about what's causing this that I have a practical next step to fix it? Your answer is probably no. And the reason that you don't feel excited about doing something that is one of the most fun things that a guy can do is because your nervous system has learned that sex is a painful experience. So during sex, you're actually afraid instead of excited. So let me give you an analogy to help you understand how this happened. So imagine you had a guy move in next door. He seemed really cool. You'd met him a bunch of times. He was nice. He let you borrow his concrete saw. You had great conversations. You were becoming fast friends. Then, one time you hung out and you invited him over for dinner the following evening. He said, "Yeah, that sounds great." And then he punched you in the face. For absolutely no reason. Now imagine how you would feel when you thought about him coming over for dinner. Probably not excitement, right? Now imagine every time you saw him, he punched you in the face. You really wouldn't be excited about hanging out with him. So this is what's happened to you with sex. It doesn't matter how many amazing sexual experiences that you've had. Once you lose an erection and you feel embarrassed, ashamed, angry, or whatever emotion it makes you feel, you now associate that feeling with sex. And so one bad experience can actually tarnish 1,000 good ones. So why does an emotion associated with sex kill my erection? Because the emotion you're experiencing in sexual situations can actually trigger your nervous system to literally shut down your erections. Your body actually has an erection brake pedal. It's called vasodilation. And if you're worried about an experience in the future that will likely cause you a painful emotion, your body actually goes into fight or flight the same way as if you were being mugged. So it's actually trying to protect you. So think about sitting in a horror movie watching a side character walk into the dark garage that the killer is hiding in. You know you're 100% safe, but you also know the killer is about to jump out, which will probably scare you. And this anticipation can actually trigger fight or flight, which literally redirects blood away from your genitals and up to your heart and your muscles to prepare you for battle. So when I asked if you feel excited about your next sexual experience, this is why. The lack of excitement, the complex emotion you feel, is actually a telltale sign your problem isn't physical, it's actually mental emotional. Now that you understand why this is happening, that's the first step to fixing it. The second step is you have to create a healthier relationship with sex. So another way to say this is you have to calm down your nervous system and change the emotion that's actually associated with sex. To do this, we have to look at exactly how something in the past can keep triggering the future. Most people think of this as a passive process, but it's actually an active one. You're currently still doing something that is perpetuating the fear. You just don't realize it. The thing that you're doing is you're fixating on it. The best way to think about this is that you have the mind equivalent of a computer virus. So a computer virus is something that works against what's in the best interest of the computer and the operator. So it's not how the code is designed to function. So this virus that your mind has fixates on the problem, and it just searches WebMD and Reddit and YouTube, and it thinks about it all day. So you might think, but Cam, I'm just trying to fix this problem. And I know you are, but there's a really important factor you aren't taking into account. What your mind focuses on has an enormous amount of influence over your emotional state. So if you think about the best moment of your entire life, you will still feel good right now. And if you think about the last time you lost an erection, you'll still feel awful right now. And if you think about the chair that you're sitting in, you'll feel probably nothing. So if you pay attention to how you feel while you're doing all those things, while you're trying to fix your erections, you'll realize that you actually feel awful. And that's really important because that's the virus. And it's really good at tricking you into worrying about this, which keeps giving momentum to that painful emotion. So every time you think about sex and you feel that way, you're strengthening the bond between those things. And that's killing your future erections. So what you have to do instead is think about literally almost anything else. Stop doing all those obsessive things. Stop thinking about it at work. Stop avoiding your life. Focus on doing things that make you feel good. Hang out with your friends. Pick your hobbies back up. Play an instrument. Create something. You're fighting this battle all day long, and you have to take it moment by moment. You have to focus on feeling better emotionally so that you stop reinforcing that negative emotional association. And this is actually really easy to do, but it's very difficult to do on your own without support because your mind and the virus, it goes everywhere with you. It'll trick you into thinking these thoughts at work, at the grocery store, when you're with your partner, when you're with your friends. The virus is like a professional demotivational speaker that follows you around like a shadow. And to you, this virus is almost invisible because it knows exactly what to say to trigger your deepest, most painful fears. And you believe everything it says. And because it's able to trigger those fears, it actually shuts off the logical part of your brain using a process called amygdala hijacking. It literally bypasses the prefrontal cortex so you can't think objectively. This creates a feeling of hopelessness. So if you feel hopeless about whether this can be fixed, that's just how you feel. That's how every guy in your situation feels. But it's not reality. This problem is 100% fixable for nearly every guy. Literally every client that I've ever had thought that their situation was uniquely unfixable. And they had lots of reasons for this. And I'm here to tell you, as a guy who's been obsessed with this problem for the last 15 years, that's just simply not true. Right now, this hopelessness is your biggest obstacle to actually solving this problem because it's hijacking your logic. This is why I strongly recommend getting outside help to deal with this. These patterns are a lot more obvious from the outside. And so I understand all the tricks your mind is using against you, and I've spent almost 15 years developing tools to deal with them. Basically, I will give you a different mental operating system for how to think about sex that isn't affected by the virus. Then I'll help you take small practical steps that will help you get rid of the virus permanently. The steps are so gentle that it's really easy for me to help even guys who feel hopeless and like their situation is unfixable to start seeing results in the first 30 days. So if you would like my help getting rid of the virus, book a discovery call with me using the link in the description. The third step is consistency. So if you do the things in step 2 for a day, nothing's really going to change because habits and emotions are very momentum based. You have to do these things long enough until the thought patterns and negative emotions die down. So as these negative emotional associations start to weaken, you'll start to see an improvement in your erection quality. So after you start to see evidence that this actually works, the emotional associations will be weakened further. Plus, you'll start to form positive emotional associations with sex. So this creates momentum in the positive direction until eventually things work so consistently that you just kind of forget to think about it. At this stage, your erections will be back to 100%. You'll stay hard even when stimulation is removed, changing positions is a breeze, and your sexual confidence will be sky high. So basically, you'll be back to normal. So to recap, you need to do 3 things to get hard every time. Get clear about what's causing the problem. Hopefully this video helped you do that. Focus on feeling better during the day. Stop obsessing over this. And 3, do the right things consistently. So if you do those things, you'll never worry about sex again. If you want me to hold your hand through this process and to keep you out of the mental traps and to keep you feeling confident, book a discovery call with me today so I can help you kill the virus for good. Your sex life is waiting for you, and I'd love to help you.